Now, what I did in that last section that I recorded, in case you didn't notice, and you will if you go back and replay it again, it was a song that had three chords, and it was played in the progression of G, C, D, and back to G. And each chord progression had two measures of that chord played. And then the second time that I played it, I just combined and played each chord, even though they were two measures long, played them as one long extended measure by excluding the pinch in green on the second measure and just continued the rolling of those four strings with alternating inner pair and outer pair throughout the two measure length. It's easier than you think. Now it's quite interesting that once you learn this pattern and memorize this pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and while you're learning it, you're going to be counting it out like that. And you start out very slow and you pick up speed once you become more accurate with the slower speed. But the whole process of learning this pattern, applying the 15 minutes a day and sometimes longer technique, you should learn this in 2 weeks. You'll become very articulate at it, very accurate. So you're going to find this very interesting that once we learn that pattern and master it, we're going to look for ways to alter it when we play songs. There's going to be times when we want to not play the full measure, maybe just play the bass notes during the measure. There will be times when we're going to want to add bass runs in between chord changes or along the way. Eventually, we're going to learn how to add melody notes. And then there's this technique, which I'm going to teach you today, and that is extending one measure into two measures. Whoa, I meant extending two measures into one measure by excluding the second pinch on the second measure. That is just applying the pinch on the first measure of those two measures. Let me show you. Now remember, when we first started this thing on August 10th, the very first thing we learned was the pattern, one measure of music. We started out painfully slow and repeated the pattern over and over again, day after day, and assigned this pattern to muscle memory. And that's the key to the success here. And then remember, in lesson 4, I believe it was, we learned how to play the pattern with the pinch and without the pinch. Now, on that initial tutorial on August 10th, besides learning the pattern, we also learned the importance of knowing the root notes of chords. Any chord you're going to learn, you want to know the root note or the bass note of that chord, because that's going to dictate how you play that pinch on downbeat 1, where you have to include that bass note and the high E string, or the first string, on downbeat 1 before proceeding with the rest of the pattern. Lesson 1 taught us the importance of knowing how to interpret chord diagrams. So we studied a little bit of that and learned what the little X's and O's meant on chord charts, and gave you a homework assignment learning the chords E minor, A minor, and B seventh. So those were the first chords for our first exercise. Whoa, I meant exercise 2, not the first exercise, where we learned how to change between those three chords, E minor, A minor, and B seventh, in preparation for a song. The first song we're going to learn how to play, Caravan of Fools by John Prine. Now, sometimes when a song has a chord that's played for two measures in a row or even more, the guitarist may opt to play a measure are two measures in a row with just a pinch shown in green on the first measure and excluding the pinch on the second measure, and instead opting to just continue that rolling of the red between the inner and the outer pairs. Okay, so look for an exercise on this that I'll produce where we'll learn how to take two measures of music, each with a pinch in green at the beginning, and turn that whole thing into one longer two-measure length item with just one pinch at the beginning of the first measure and eliminating the pinch at the beginning of the second measure. It'll all come to fruition once you check into that exercise. For our homework assignment, let's just continue learning those three chords, E minor, A minor, and B seventh, because next tutorial will be to learn how to play the song Caravan of Fools from start to end with the outro and with the bass runs, everything. So get ready for that. Please like and perhaps even subscribe to my channel, and more importantly, share these tutorials on Travis picking with any of your friends that may be interested in learning this technique. For those of you that are kind of new here and have just sort of stumbled upon this, what I usually do, I usually produce an exercise covering the topic at hand, like this topic of extending two measures into one longer measure. So look for that exercise that will follow this tutorial toot sweet. Also look for links in the description below and cards at the top that will direct you to subject matters at hand that will help you in your quest to learn how to Travis pick like this. So until next time, see ya. Keep it up. Patience, persistence, practice, repetition, and then continue with each tutorial along the way. You'll be Travis picking toot sweet here, I promise you. See you next time.